Afternoon everyone, my name is Gavin Russell and I work for a partner company called IS Partners. We play in the business intelligence space and we're really looking forward to a chat today to talk about BI development acceleration. With me today is my director, Ryan Jamieson.
Hi,
who's going to help it. How's it, Ryan? Good to meet you here, man.
Yeah,
how's it going?
Great.
Fantastic. And so what we're going to be doing is discussing different techniques that we can use to accelerate the build of a BI solution. So Ryan, take us through it for a bit.
Well, Gav, there's really kind of, in my mind, there's three types of BI acceleration that you get.
Yeah.
Now, at the most kind of basic level, your first point of acceleration is really about acceleration built on code that you've already developed within the organization or that you can access from external sources. The second level of BI acceleration comes in when there's speciality third-party product or product out there that will enable developers to develop BI systems in a very rapid and agile manner. And then lastly, there's the BI acceleration, which is really vertically focused. So on specific industries or specific common areas, the ability to accelerate a BI deployment from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe I should turn this around to you, seeing as you are the technical specialist.
Yes.
Talk about the first part of BI acceleration.
Well, the first bit is really something which I've been doing personally for a couple of years now when going onto project sites, is you tend to look back at your previous project or your previous 2 or 3 projects and you keep that code or you keep those packages that you wrote at those previous clients and to reuse them. Now, really the fundamental rule around that is there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I'm quite sure we all sort of have this development mindset that we'd like to build it from scratch again because surely we can do it better the next time we get there. But at the end of the day, a BI environment has a lot of things that are pretty static every time we go into a client site. Look, we're going to need to create a fact table, we need to create a dimension table, the staging database, etc. All of these things are pretty repeatable and very much the same at every client we go to. So that's sort of the 80% chunk of the work. And where I like to focus is rather on the more interesting bits, the 20%, the specific client details that are different from one client to the other. So what I've been doing over the last couple of years is I've got my own library on that laptop of mine, luckily saved up on the server too, so if I lose it I'm okay. And that's really a list of predefined packages and a list of predefined cubes that I can use when going from client to client.
Well, give me an example of some of the predefined packages, or where are the sweet spots that you've found that you can actually do this level of acceleration?
Well, one of the easiest ones really to talk about is loading a dimension. Okay, and of course we're talking about BI development here, so the 2 things that we tend to load is a dimension or a fact. And dimension loading, especially if you're doing standard type 1 dimensions, are pretty much the same, let's be honest.
Yeah.
We load a source file into some staging table, we apply some generic scrubbing routines, and then we load it through into our final target data warehouse, which is all fine and well. So what I've found that works quite nicely is I've actually written a nice cutting-edge spreadsheet. I like to call it the cutting-edge spreadsheet. And that's used to go and generate those underlying tables. Okay, so it's really helped to take sort of your average dimension loading time from about 8 hours normally, taking that down to a matter of minutes really. So run the spreadsheet, create your tables, run a particular piece of code I've written as well, which takes the actual DTS packages and modifies them as well. So it's really just the next finish from my point of view to go ahead and create those repeatable steps.
But I'm sure that there's some challenges with it. I mean, just describe some of the challenges. Yeah, I know that we've been very excited about the ability to reuse this type of code internally in our company, but certainly there's certain gaps when you try and get other people to utilize the code sets.
Well, there's always a certain gap when handing over. I think if handover was a perfect science, we'd be much more advanced today than what we really are. But what we do internally to try and assist with this, we do a lot of internal training. Okay. So we get a lot of new people coming on board. Okay, everyone has their own experience, and there's no reason to force people to work a certain way. But of course, I at least teach them and show them the way that we've been working over the last 5 years, and that helps them to pick up these tools and use them more easily.
Well, that's amazing.
So
what kind of acceleration do we actually achieve on this? You mentioned that for dimensions, we can probably take something that takes about a day and move it into a couple of minutes. But if you took the total lifespan of a project with typical code libraries,
well, it's very hard to put a number on that one, Ryan. That's quite a question. How long is that piece of string? But what I would say about it, at least the dimension and fact table handling, that like really meat of a project which would take your average developer probably about 2 weeks to do really, to get that kind of thing set up, we can do in about 2 or 3 days. So we can go back to the client relatively quickly and show them their target cube or their target star schema quite quickly.
Well, I must say, one of the things that for me has become very important with this type of acceleration is you're taking the mundane out of any implementation, and you can actually start focusing your time and energy on the creative bits, the things that actually add the real value to the customer.
I've got a comment on that one. I was caught by surprise about a year ago. We had a business consultant, Chris, came in to meet us about a year ago at a staff meeting, and I'd just finished one of our previous projects. And I was all excited because the SSIS packages were optimized, the ETL loaded correctly, it was all beautiful. And then he turned around and asked me, "So Gavin, what's the annual turnover?" And I quite sheepishly had to look at him and go, "Sorry Chris, I actually don't know." And that emphasizes your point exactly. We tend to get so caught up in the nitty-gritty details that we forget the bigger picture of what business intelligence is all about.
That's right.
So well, that's personal developer productivity. Okay, you mentioned something about third product software as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe I should take this one.
Yeah.
In terms of third-party products, there's a number of products out there that are starting to become more prevalent that actually accelerate the build of the business intelligence environment.
Yeah.
Now, Microsoft has done a really great job in giving us tools like the Business Intelligence Development Studio, which has actually accelerated the ability for us to actually go ahead, build packages. There's a lot of intelligence built into it. There's wizards. What would Microsoft be without wizards?
Next finish, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Seamless as well. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a really good thing. But they've done a really good job at this. But one of the lacks that we've experienced, and certainly in trying to get people into becoming BI developers, is that there's a lot of people, they've got the Transact SQL knowledge, they've got the knowledge of how to architect systems, but integration services and even analysis services are technologies which they're fairly unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of fear out there in being able to implement solutions. And a number of companies have come out with product that actually will develop or accelerate that kind of development cycle of your BI cubes. And it's something that's not necessarily done, it's not something that needs to take a long time to do.
Yeah.
It's something that can be done very, very quickly. So one of the things that we're finding in a lot of our implementations is that we're actually able to apply more agile-based techniques. So this whole agile methodology that your traditional dev guys can actually utilize and get a lot of benefit out of, we're able to do with these accelerator type tools.
But on that, I mean, let's be honest, data warehousing is not for your average developer. Data warehousing tends to involve a large amount of data. There's a lot of thought that goes into particular designs.
Yes.
Is using a third-party product potentially going to throw away those best practices?